Hello, good evening. I just wanted to go over how you can take advantage of this $2 trillion bill that hopefully is going to be passed tomorrow and made into law, as well as this $7 billion in funding. I've been talking a lot about this. What's up, Matt Hollander? I've been talking a lot about this over the last week and a half as all this stuff has kind of unfolded. I wanted to tell you a little bit about what you can be taking advantage of as far as this funding. There is so much inside this bill that is available that is really incredible for you to be able to take advantage of. If you are a business, just about any business owner, you can take advantage of some part of this bill to be able to help your business. One of the first things that is a part of this bill is talking about these loans, these SBA loans. Well, one part of this bill is a forgivable loan. It's truly forgivable. If you've paid salaries, payroll taxes, or any independent contractors, there is a place in this bill for a forgivable loan to you. And the way that you're able to figure out what that amount is that's available is taking 1 month of payroll and multiplying that by 2.5 times. And that is available to you as a forgivable loan when you get this money. So when you obtain the money, you have to have documentation that proves that you use that for salaries, payroll taxes, or independent contractors. It also includes if you paid rent or if you paid utilities or even mortgage interest with that money. And there's $350 billion that's available for it. So once the loan is obtained, you have to provide that documentation that it was used for the subsequent 8 weeks of payroll, and then it'll be forgiven in full. So if you're one of these small business owners that has employees and you're trying to keep everybody employed, there is an opportunity for you to apply for this forgivable loan. There's 2 types of loans that are here. One of them is 7A and one is 7B. 7B is the actual loan applications that I've been talking about. There's the disaster loans. 7A is related to these forgivable loans. So this is truly, truly unbelievable that they are providing these loans that where you do not have to pay anything back as long as you have spent it on these specific places: lease payments, utilities, mortgage interest. It's really unbelievable. So that's one area that you can, almost every single business owner, there's no credit check on this. On this loan, there's no credit check whatsoever. You can apply for this loan. And it doesn't have to be repaid. It's amazing. The second part here is if you go for the 7B funding, the disaster loans, this is anything from a $25,000 loan to a $2 million loan. If you apply, you can request an emergency grant, which is $10,000. That will be paid to you within 3 days. 3 business days, you'll get a $10,000 advance. And then in the process, while you're waiting for the loan to be approved, which is about a 4 to 6 week process is what they say, what they claim. If you get denied that loan, you don't even have to pay the $10,000 back. So another part of this bill that you can take advantage of is you can have an emergency grant given to you for $10,000. If you get denied, you don't even have to pay it back. And your company could help us apply. Yes, yeah, I'm helping business owners apply, Brian. I appreciate that. Trying to provide you as much information about this bill as possible, but yes, we can help you apply for this. And what we're doing is we're not only helping you apply for the loans. What I started to do is help you apply for the loans. But if you want to apply the whole bill, if you want to apply every single one of these different parts of the bill to your business, we are going to help you apply every single part to your business as well. Another part of the bill is that you do not have to pay penalties, the 10% penalty on your retirement funds. If you withdraw them early, usually there's a 10% penalty. You do not have to do that for distributions up to $100,000. So if you have money in qualified retirement accounts, you want to pull that money out now, you can do it with an early withdrawal, and it's free of that 10% penalty. The next part of this is the $10 billion of disaster loans. This is the 7B disaster loans that I was talking to you about. It is not related to payroll. It's not related to rent. It's not related to interest, mortgage interest, or utilities. They can be used for every single part of your business. Any part of your business, you can get these loans. And they are the ones that are at the 3.75% interest rate, a 7, 15, or 30-year term. So those are the disaster loans that you can get. That's what I've been helping a lot of business owners apply for now. We've helped over 40 business owners already, almost up to 50. But these are the disaster loans that you apply for. This is a little bit longer process. That's a little bit more involved process applying for disaster loans, but you can apply for these and you can apply for the forgivable loans. So there is so many different aspects of this bill. It's not passed yet, not officially. It is most likely going to get passed tomorrow. Another part of this is you can defer your payroll taxes for 2 years. You can defer your payroll taxes for 2 years. They will be paid. 50% of them will be paid in 2021. 50% of them will be paid in 2022. So that is another area that you can take advantage of. That's your payroll taxes for the rest of 2020 that are going to be deferred to the next 2 years. And another part of this bill is the rebate checks that are going to be issued. These rebate checks are anywhere from $2,400 to $1,200 depending on how you filed your 2018 tax return. That's $2,400 if you did married filing jointly. If you filed individually, it's $1,200, and there's actual income limitations on these. So if you filed single, it's $75,000 or less would qualify for you on this type of rebate. If you filed married filing jointly, it's $150,000. That is the limitation on the income. And then you also get $500 per child that is going to give you some of the rebate checks. Another part of the bill is getting cash for NOLs. So if you had a net operating loss, it's amazing what they're doing here. If you had a net operating loss in 2018, 19, or 2020, typically you can only carry back that 2 years. You can amend your prior year tax returns. You can carry back 2 years typically. They're going to allow you to carry back up to 5 years. If you had losses in 18, 19, or 20, you can carry that back 5 years to those previous returns, and you can get cash that way as well. So there's so many different ways to be able to get cash to infuse it into your business and be able to help you make it through this time. And that's the whole point of this $2 trillion stimulus bill. Another part of it is a refundable payroll tax credit. If you keep your employees, if you maintain your employees and keep them and don't let them go, you can get a refundable payroll tax credit. This one is a little bit more complicated for you to be able to figure out, but it is an option. So you can get 50% of the wages paid to the employees if your operations were partially or fully suspended, or the gross sales declined more than 50%, which is a lot of you restaurant owners, retail stores, hospitality. If your sales declined 50%, when it's compared to the same quarter in the prior year, a credit is provided of up to $10,000 per employee. So it's a refundable payroll tax credit. This is saying, and I want to say this again, you can get a payroll tax credit of 50% of the wages paid to the employees, up to $10,000 per employee, if your sales were less than 50% of the prior year quarter, the same quarter, less than 50%. That is amazing that they are offering that. So the most incredible thing that I think is these forgivable loans that any business owner, no credit check whatsoever, can be used for payroll, salaries, payroll taxes, independent contractors. Whatever your average monthly payroll is, you're going to be able to multiply that times 2.5, and that is the amount of a forgivable loan that you can get. As long as it's used for payroll, for mortgage interest, for utilities, for lease payments or rent payments, that's what it's got to be used for. So, I mean, that is just unbelievable that they're doing these forgivable loans. What you've heard a lot about is the disaster loans, these SBA disaster loans. You've seen these advertised for a while. They passed $7 billion of disaster loans. That's applicable to every single state right now. And so those are a little bit longer terms. They are not forgivable, but you can use them for any part in your business. 3.75% interest rate, 7, 15, 30-year terms. And you can take advantage of all of this stuff. Dylan Maxwell, I got to hit you up and see what I can take advantage of. This is great stuff. Exactly, Dylan. Please contact me, man. There is so much opportunity here. And it's going to be amazing if the government's able to stay liquid enough and solvent enough to be able to do this. I believe they can. But this is an unbelievable opportunity to own a business, to have employees. I know it's been difficult for you. It's been difficult for us as well. But this is amazing opportunity. So please, please, please reach out to me if you want help, Dylan. I want to keep going here. So it's supposed to pass tomorrow. This bill is supposed to pass tomorrow. What's up, Andre? You need to be taking advantage of all this stuff, Andre. There's so much to take advantage of. So you've got forgivable loans, emergency grants. The emergency grant is unbelievable because you can apply for the 7B loans. The 7B loans, when you apply for them, you can immediately say, hey, I want $10,000. I want $10,000 right now. They'll give it to you in 3 days. And then if you get denied from the loan, you don't even have to pay the $10,000 back. Like, you don't even have to pay it back. It's amazing. Withdraw from your retirement tax-free. You've got the disaster loans I was talking about. Deferring your payroll taxes, that is big. If you have payroll, you're going to be able to defer your payroll taxes till 21 and 22 if you want to. You've got the recovery rebate checks. That's based off your 2018 tax return. Your 2018 tax return, $150,000 or less. If you're married filing jointly, is going to get you $2,400 and then $500 for each kid or dependent. If you make $75,000 or less, that's going to get you $1,200 as single. You can carry back NOLs that you had in 2018, 19, or 2020. You can carry them back 5 years. And then also you have an employee retention credit. This is a credit that if you maintain your employees, if you keep your employees employed while you're going through a difficult time, while you're going through a time where you have 50% or less of the revenue that you had in the prior year quarter, they're going to give you up to $10,000 per employee of a credit, a refundable credit. That means you're getting the money back. So there is so much opportunity right now. Like I've got to get on here and tell you about this. It's just, you've got to be on the lookout for this. You can do this on your own. You can go to the SBA website. I've actually got a free webinar that I'm offering next week. I'm going to be going over all of these things as well in that. There's going to be links that are available for you to be able to participate in that. Every single state is covered by these disaster loans. Everybody is covered by these loans now. So there is so many different aspects of this bill that affect different parts of your business, and it really takes you paying attention to each one of them or hiring somebody to be able to help you with this. I would love to help you with it for sure. We are studying this by the hour. This thing is changing all the time, and I'm trying to keep you up to date as much as possible. We've already signed up a lot of people that we're helping, and it's so much fun to be able to help people work through this because it's so fluid, it's so liquid, because things are changing so much. There's different aspects of your business, and for me personally, like, this has been so cool to have, like, all of this involves accounting. All of it involves taxes. It involves putting your financial statements together, your tax returns together. In order to apply for these 7B loans, the disaster loans, you got to have tax returns. You have to have personal financial statement. You got to have a schedule of liabilities. You got to have a credit score requirement. There is requirements for your year-end balance sheet and income statement. You need a current year-to-date income statement. You need monthly sales figures for the last 3 years. You also need to be able to show that your business had some decline or it will have a decline through forecasting. So all of these things have to be put together in order for you to apply for the disaster loans. Now, for the forgivable loans, you do not have to have a credit score check. You really don't have to prove anything for these forgivable loans, and that is insane. The forgivable loans are available if you have payroll to take care of, payroll taxes, independent contractors. You are able to literally submit what your average monthly payroll is. It's a fairly simple application process. You can do this on your own. You don't have to hire somebody if you don't want to. I highly recommend you hiring somebody because they're going to be able to take advantage of every part of this and make it fit to where you maximize the benefits for your business. But you get 2.5 times of your average monthly payroll as a forgivable loan. All you have to do is provide the backup documentation. That's it. You got to provide that backup documentation to prove what your payroll is. So, just to review one more time, I just want to talk about this one more time because these things are so crazy. The different parts of this new bill that is out, the biggest thing that you need to think of and think about if you're a business owner is these forgivable loans. If you have employees, this is something you should apply for. No matter what, go for it. You need to have employees that you've paid salaries to, payroll taxes, or independent contractors. You're going to be able to take your average monthly payroll, multiply it by 2.5, and that's the loan that you can possibly qualify for. And this is a forgivable loan. All you have to do is prove that you used it for payroll and interest, mortgage interest, for lease payments, utilities. You've got to verify that you had those things in place before February 15th, and then they will be forgiven as long as you submit proper documentation. So it's better to keep employees on. I have a call with you tomorrow. Yeah, Kevin, we're going to be talking about that tomorrow. Now, this hasn't passed yet, okay? It hasn't passed. This is just the bill. It's supposed to pass tomorrow. We'll see. I would imagine it's probably going to pass, but I haven't gone into that much detail on it yet until tonight because I wanted to see, I wanted to make sure I had all the kinks worked out of this and the specifics that would apply to you. So is it better to keep your employees on? If you can keep your employees on, yes, for sure. Because this isn't a matter of even keeping your employees on. It's a matter of your employees being able to support the fact that you are able to get a certain amount of a loan. Now, if you had laid off your employees, and then all of a sudden now they have this bill that's in place that's going to allow you to get a forgivable loan to cover your payroll, which supposedly that money is going to be available by April 6th. I don't know how they're going to get it out to everybody that quickly, but supposedly it's going to be available April 6th. Then you could bring everybody back on and use that money that you're going to get to keep your employees paid. So even if you've already laid them off or something, that doesn't mean that you can't bring them back on immediately once you get this forgivable loan. The other reason you might want to keep your employees on, Kevin, is there is a refundable credit, a refundable tax credit that you can get if you keep your employees on and you can prove that your revenues went down more than 50% than the prior year's quarter. Okay? Awesome. I'm glad. That's exactly what we'll talk about tomorrow, man. So you can get a refundable tax credit for 50% of the wages paid to the employee during that time, up to $10,000 per employee. So that's pretty huge. So that's a matter of just maintaining your employees. So the forgivable loans is a huge part. And this is the other thing that I just can't get over. There's an emergency grant if you're applying for the 7B disaster loans, and you tell them immediately you can request a $10,000 advance when you apply. They must distribute that $10,000 within 3 days. And then if you are subsequently denied, that loan, you don't even have to pay back the advance. Basically, when you apply for the disaster loan, you can request a $10,000 advance, and then if you get denied, you don't pay it back. That's amazing. I mean, amazing. Retirement funds, you can take out retirement funds up to $100,000 without the 10% penalty. That's big. The disaster loans, that's what we've been applying for a lot of our clients, a lot of those who have decided to go ahead and work with us. We've been applying for these disaster loans. You can apply for those disaster loans yourself if you like to. You can apply for all this stuff yourself. But there's a lot of different nuances that you have to keep in mind when you're applying for this stuff and applying it to your business. You can defer your payroll taxes for up to 2 years. You don't have to pay 50% of your payroll taxes in 2020 until 2021. And then you can pay the other half of your payroll taxes in 2022. What's up, Tommy Davidson? How you doing, man? Just going over a few things in this bill that hopefully will get passed tomorrow. You need to look into this, Tommy Davidson. Then you've got your rebate checks. And this is the coolest thing. If you've had losses in 2018, 2019, 2020, you can carry them back 5 years. So if you paid taxes in the 5 years prior, you can carry those losses back. Typically, you can only carry them back 2 years, or you have to roll them forward for 20 years. But you do not have to. You do not have to only carry it back 2 years. You can carry it back 5 years. Are we going to make it? Oh yeah, we're going to make it. Totally, we're going to make it. And then keeping your employees on gives you a refundable payroll tax credit of 50% of the wages that you paid to your employees during that time. But the thing you got to remember with that refundable payroll tax credit or payroll tax credit for your employees is you have to prove that your business had a 50% decline from the prior year's quarter. Okay? So, biggest thing here that you need to remember, there's these forgivable loans that are out there available for you to go get and use for payroll taxes, for independent contractors, as well as mortgage interest payments, utilities. Every single business owner should be going for that. Every single one should be going for that. And then the other is the actual disaster loans. We are helping our clients. We are charging a fee to help apply parts of this bill as well as apply every single part of the bill to your business. So, Keith, yeah, would love to jump on a call with you, man. We are helping our clients apply every single part of this bill or parts of the bill. It just depends. All of this is so brand new. There's a lot of different nuances to it. And I just wanted to go over a few of these things just so that you can learn a little bit more, kind of have just the practical point of view on it. Would love to talk to you more about it. If you're interested, if you're watching this back and you have any other questions, please comment on any questions that you might have. I'd love to address those. This is a crucial time. It's a crucial time for our country. It's a crucial time for small business owners. And I have to say, I think, when this thing gets passed, which it has to tomorrow, there is going to be a lot of opportunity to get some cash immediately into your business. And when I mean immediately, I mean within a month to 2 months. It's not going to be next week. It's going to take some effort. I really, really, really recommend working with a professional. I know that might seem biased, but you need to work with somebody who is going to guide you through this, who's going to have a motivated point of view. We are keeping up to date with this all the time, every hour, on the hour, in order to make sure that we are maximizing the benefits that are going to come to your business. So, forgivable loans. Crazy. Yeah, Kevin Krausek, I want it all. That's exactly right. I mean, it is literally open up the floodgates, but you just don't want to get run over, I mean, you just don't want to drown in this. And so it's best to work with a professional that can kind of point out and see your business for what it is, where you are right now, and then break down what the strategy is that's going to be best for you to utilize. the really cool thing is this isn't it's not necessarily a race immediately. This is really meant to be strategic, just like I would look at tax planning every year or any other type of planning around your finances and your accounting. It's a lot of capital management. It's a lot of cash flow management and managing your balance sheet. This has to do with how many employees do you really have? What was your average payroll? It requires some strategy. And so that's why it's very, very important for you to try not to do this just by yourself. So Krevin Krautsack, what'd you say? I've already paid up. Let's roll. Yeah, we'll talk about that tomorrow, Kevin. All right. So what we're doing, I'll go ahead and tell you what we're doing is we've been working with clients on the disaster loans. There's one payment for the disaster loans, and there's another payment to deal with the whole bill, because you're talking about forgivable loans. You're talking about emergency grant. You're talking about withdrawal from retirement, disaster loans, defer payments. You're talking about rebate checks, getting cash for NOLs. All of that analysis for each one of these different sections applies for each different company, each different client. So what we're doing is we're charging one lump sum payment to deal with the whole bill, and we have another payment that is just for the disaster loans. So we'll be talking about that, Kevin. Lots of time, effort, energy will be put into this stuff. This isn't something that's going to it's not just going to just be fixed overnight. It's not just going to be fixed in a couple hours. This is going to be just take my money. I appreciate that, Kevin. I appreciate that, man. We're going to get you, I'm telling you, we are going to get you way more than just what you're actually paying us, okay? Way more than what you're paying us based off the strategies that we're going to be able to use in order to be able to do this. And this isn't like taking advantage of anything. It's just being able to navigate it and really understand what is going to be the best strategy for your business. What's really cool is if you just immediately, if you apply for these forgivable loans, if you apply for those first, once you apply for those, that kind of gets you settled. You're paying your employees. Hopefully in a couple months, we start to come back out of this. Business comes back to normal. People start traveling again. Everybody's booming and going. That doesn't mean that you can't still go back and try to apply for the disaster loans and get even more inexpensive money that then you can apply to other parts of your business to make it even stronger. That's what's so cool about what is going on here, and what is so it's such an opportunity, really. What loan should I go after on SBA.gov site for a small business that is scaling, looking for funds to keep growing? We lost a lot of wholesale accounts that have shut their doors, but looking for capital to keep growing and scaling. That's a great question, Joshua. Which loan should you be going for? It depends on if you have employees. It depends on what your effect was with this downturn that we've had. It depends on how that affected your revenues. It depends on what your credit score is. It depends on a lot of different things. So Joshua, if you don't mind, please reach out to me. Give me a call, 423-503-6014, and we'll talk about your individual situation, okay? I'll be able to provide you with a lot more insight when we have a conversation just about your business, okay? But that's a really good question, and that's what's happening. That's what we're helping people with. We're helping them make that decision because there's so many different ones now. Like before, if you were just applying for the disaster loan, I had a lot of people say like, I can't believe you're charging for this. You're profiting on this. Well, no, not necessarily, because it's not the easiest thing to apply for, but you only had one thing to apply. Now that we have this $2 trillion bill, there's forgivable loans, emergency grants. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 different ways to apply this to your business. My number, 423-503-6014. That's my cell phone. that I'm using right now to do this live. But yeah, now you have so many different ways to apply this to your business. Let me tell you, like whatever you would pay us to help you navigate this to maximize the benefit that you're going to get to it, the return on your investment is going to be much more, depending on what your average payroll is. Let's just take an average example. Let's say your average payroll per month is $20,000. What they're saying is that you can apply for these forgivable loans, no credit check. It has to be used for salaries, payroll taxes, or independent contractors. So let's say 20 grand, it's 2.5 times what your average payroll is. So let's see if I can do some math in my head. 2.5 times. That's going to be $50,000 will literally be handed to you. Here's 50 grand. Really appreciate you. Once the loan is obtained, there needs to be documentation of all amounts paid towards payroll in subsequent 8 weeks, which will be forgiven in full. You can also have your amounts forgive for rehiring employees terminated for COVID-19. So you literally use the 50 grand that you get, use it for salaries, payroll taxes, independent contractors, interest payments, lease payments, utilities. Prove that you used it for that, and the loan will be forgiven. That's just one part of it. One part. So, I mean, this is incredible. Every single business should be applying for this. But it's got to be applied to forgivable expenses. So this is whether you are paying independent contractors, whether you're paying payroll taxes or salaries, and there's no credit check. Like, unbelievable. Now, for self-employed individuals, it's going to apply a little bit differently. This is mainly for those that have employees. So it's based off of your average payroll. But if you've paid independent contractors in the past, I mean, that's for construction contractors, subcontractors. Like, if you're paying independent contractors, what amount are you normally paying? Sounds like that they're going to be able to take the average of what you normally pay, multiply it by 2.5, and that's a forgivable loan to your business. I mean, that's just insane. I don't even, like, you don't have to pay it back. It's free money. I mean, unbelievable. Brian Hess, if you're watching this, man, like, you need to be going after this stuff. Unbelievable. You can do it on your own. You can get a professional to do it. We are helping business owners specifically just for this, specifically just dealing with this bill and applying it to your business in the best strategy possible. Another part of it, emergency grant, you can go get $10,000 just for applying, even if you get denied. It's so good, it doesn't seem real. That's exactly right. Well, it's not real yet, Brian, because it's not actually law yet. It's supposed to pass tomorrow. We'll see. But yeah, I think, like, you can just apply for the 7B SBA loan, the disaster loan that we were talking about, request a $10,000 advance and not even have to pay it back, supposedly. I don't even know where the logic comes from on even allowing that. And they're supposed to distribute it to you within 3 days. So just applying for the for the disaster loan, you can get $10,000. That's called the emergency grant. And you can apply every single different aspect of this bill to your business. One of the things that I love is the NOL carryback. If you had losses in 18, 19, or 20, you can carry them back to the prior 5 years. Why is it even called a loan? Well, that's right. I mean, great question. I mean, it's called forgivable loans. They got to break it down into some type of category. So it's a forgivable loan. That's the category that they're talking about. So forgivable loans. If you've paid salaries, payroll taxes, or independent contractors. That's what they're looking for. Additionally, any amounts spent on mortgage interest, lease payments, and utilities that were in place prior to February 15th, 2020, they'll be forgiven. Unbelievable. Emergency grant I talked about. Does anybody have any other questions that's kind of tuning in here? Employee retention credit, more like a grant. Yes, more like a grant. Totally. Completely more like a grant. Refundable payroll tax credit for 50% of wages. So if you keep everybody employed and you can prove that you've had a decrease of 50% or more compared to the same quarter in the prior year, then you can get up to a $10,000 per employee credit. What cuts or layoffs could cause you to lose the exemption? I assume you're talking about losing the exemption on the forgivable loans. So what it appears is that if you laid people off, this forgivable loan is based off of your prior average payroll. So even if you laid people off, you're still calculating this forgivable loan, because what they're trying to, the behavior they are trying to incentivize or incent is for you to get this forgivable loan and get everybody back employed, get everybody to be paid. So even if you laid people off, I believe that you can bring them back on once you get this forgivable loan so that you can actually pay them. How about a nonprofit that loses revenue due to the economy? Yes, nonprofits can apply for the disaster loans as well. They would be able to apply for these if they had payroll too. So even if you laid somebody off, I've been having a lot of clients ask me about that. Should I lay people off? Should I not? What should I do? Well, I mean, if you can't afford to pay them, you probably need to lay them off. A part of this bill too is that they're extending unemployment for 4 months. So this is something that you can go ahead and apply for the forgivable loan, bring everybody back onto your workforce, pay them during that time. Now, if you do that and you can prove that your business went down 50% because you kept everybody employed, then you're going to get a refundable tax credit of up to 50% of the wages paid to those employees. Another credit. Hector, is there a minimum credit score? So on the forgivable loans, that's based off of if you've paid salaries, payroll taxes, or independent contractors. On the forgivable loans, there is no credit check at all. On the disaster loans, which is the 7B loans, I want to make sure I'm saying that correctly. Yeah, 7B loans, that is subject to a credit check. And they were originally asking for a 640 credit score. I think they're going to end up being a little bit more lenient on that on the disaster loans. And the big thing that's different between the disaster loans and the forgivable loans is the forgivable loans have to be used for salaries, have to be used for payroll taxes, mortgage payments, have to be used for utilities. The disaster loans can be used for anything in your business. So the disaster loans, like if you thought about SBA loans traditionally, where you went to the bank and you had to submit all that paperwork and it was a pain in the butt to even try to get these loans, the disaster loans are kind of like that. They allow you to get the SBA money at that lower interest rate and apply that to any part of your business. Troy, the loans to nonprofits are at a 2.75% interest rate for the disaster loans. Matt McDonald, what about a small business with no payroll, just contract work? Great question. So a part of these forgivable loans, it says if you have paid salaries, payroll taxes, or independent contractors. So even if you've paid contractors, it appears that you can apply for these forgivable loans. I mean, that's just, I've never been so happy to have a payroll. I mean, it's amazing because see, the whole idea is to get is to get small businesses, get people back to work, get them paid, get them money in their checking account so they can go to movies, they can go to the retail stores, they can pay their mortgages. They've got to get money into the system rapidly. That's why this whole disaster loan thing, the application process, we started doing it for our clients this week. It was going to take 1 to 2 weeks just to apply. There's already been 25,000 applications submitted for the disaster loans. What about faith-based nonprofit? Yes, I got the same question from one of my clients that has a nonprofit. I do not know the answer to that right off the top of my head. I'll have to check on that for you. Where do you go for the forgivable loan? You go to the SBA website. The SBA website, you go to the website, apply for the loan. It's the 7A loans. It's the forgivable loans. Amazing. Thanks for helping in this time where the playbook is just being written. Yes, it is totally being written. So, I'm taking kind of a chance, just kind of putting this all out there. There's a lot of people that are reading about this, that are learning about it. I'm kind of putting myself out there a little bit too quickly sometimes. I said that the bill actually passed yesterday, which it didn't pass yesterday. Passed the Senate, thank goodness. But Big Daddy Joe, we are going to get through this mess. Yes, we'll get through it. Everybody will get through it. This is not the end for sure. I appreciate you watching here and tuning in, and I love the questions that you had. There is just so much that is in this bill that is available. The main thing to remember is if you've got payroll, the one strategy I want you to walk away with is if you have payroll and you've laid people off, this bill is going to give you the ability, if you can afford it, to bring them back on. You're going to be able to apply for this forgivable loan. You're going to be able to bring them back on once you have that money. And then you will probably be able to apply for that refundable payroll tax credit, which will be huge. And if you have a large payroll, you don't even have to pay payroll taxes the rest of the year. And you can defer those payroll taxes to 2021 and 2022. That is a big, big cash savings. I mean, my payroll taxes alone for my business are about $30,000 a month. That is a lot. That's a big chunk of change for small business owners. So that's just huge to be able to do that. So there's lots of options in this bill, lots of things that you can apply to your individual business. And what we are helping our clients with is if we are applying for loans for you, for these forgivable loans, if we are going to do this for you, we are offering this as a service. We have a separate charge for it. If we are going to apply the whole bill, all different parts of the bill, the amended returns, the emergency grant, the applications for the loans, the payroll tax deferral, all of that, we have a separate fee that we're charging as well. Do you have to pay back forgivable loans? No, you do not. You do not have to pay back the forgivable loans. Literally, they give you the money, and then a part of the requirements, and this is what we would help our clients with, the part of the requirements is to provide them the documentation of where the money was spent. The documentation needs to be submitted to the lender. So once you spend the money, you provide the documentation to the lender, and then it's forgiven. Amazing. Amazing. The emergency grant I can't get over. Like, emergency grant. So you apply for the disaster loan. Even if you get denied, if you apply for the disaster loan, the 7B SBA loan, and you request a $10,000 advance, you don't have to pay it back if you get denied. Unbelievable. We just laid off our employees until further notice. Will that have any effect on our loans? I don't believe so. It is based off what your average payroll is. So when you apply for the loan, you're going to apply for an amount that is based off your average payroll. So it's not the fact that you laid people off. What they're trying to do is incentivize you to bring them back on sooner rather than waiting for the economy to catch up. They're trying to get this money into your hands so that you can then pay your employees, bring them back on sooner, and then forgive you that loan so you don't have to pay it back, so it doesn't put your business back into a bind. Will our taxes go up to pay for this? I have no idea. Most of the new tax changes are basically sunsetting in 2026 and 2027, so I doubt that they will go up. How do you qualify for a forgivable loan? What size company qualifies? On the forgivable loan, there's no credit check. This bill is meant for companies that are less than 500 employees. So that would be the majority of the requirements on the company size. And the forgivable loans, I believe I read this somewhere, and I don't quote me on this, but I believe it's up to like $10 million, which is crazy. Crazy. Grab and run. Kevin Krautsack, I can't wait to talk to you tomorrow, man. Like, we're going to have a great conversation. What if I'm a startup with one employee? Can I apply for the loan? Theoretically, if you have had a business where you paid payroll and your average payroll, you could apply for the loan as long as those things were in place before February 15th, 2020. So you can message or email me about your services and rates. I would like to use you. Awesome. I appreciate that, Ernie. I will message you right after this. I'll go ahead and tell you what my rates are, just so you know. So if we help you with the forgivable loan application and the disaster loan application, it's $2,450. $2,450, okay? That's if we're applying for the forgivable loan and for the disaster loan application. If we're going to apply the whole bill, if it's passed, if we apply the whole bill, that includes the forgivable loans, the refundable tax credit, the NOLs for the carrybacks, all of that, it's $4,800, $4,800. Garrett Smith, I've only paid myself. Yeah, so if you have actual payroll, Garrett, that would be what you would use as your average payroll amount. So that's how we're charging. Ernie, I'll private message you as well. I'm a small nonprofit, 5 employees, have not paid them. Yeah, so if you haven't paid anybody, you don't have any support for that, you will not be able to take that. Is that due after we are able to get the monies or before? So I've been charging that up front on all of our clients that we've been working with. It's been an upfront charge in order to get the ball rolling. Is any loan available for a startup that doesn't have payroll established? They are not. It doesn't look like that they're going to be making anything available for a startup, but Garrett, it seems as though if you apply for the disaster loan, okay, if you apply for the disaster loan and you ask for the emergency grant of $10,000 and you get denied for that disaster loan, they say that you do not have to pay the advance loan back. So to me, it seems like you could get $10,000 at least if you apply. But there is a cost to applying. If you want us to help you with that, you got to submit a lot of forms and everything, but that's what would require you to apply. So, yeah, we're asking for that up front. Can't remember who asked that question. Oh, Ernie, yeah. If you only paid yourself but not on an official payroll, can you use your tax return AGI? In other words, say a single, member LLC. That's a great question. that's something that we would have to deal with on a case-by-case basis. It doesn't necessarily lay that exact fact pattern out, but it does talk about independent contractors. I believe the forgivable loans are really meant to be there to incentivize the business owner to bring everybody back to work. And so if you were the only employee, or you were the only one that is getting paid, I don't believe that would be for you, but we could talk about it for sure. But that would be my guess on that, Curtis. Garrett Smith, what is the advanced loan? The advanced loan is the emergency grant. The emergency grant is if you apply for the disaster loans and you request an advance of $10,000, an emergency grant of $10,000, and then you get denied, then you do not have to pay back the $10,000 as a part of this bill. It's got to be passed. This bill's got to be passed. It's got to be voted on tomorrow. We will see. But it seems as though it's going to happen. And a lot of how you apply all these different aspects of the bill is probably going to change a little bit. There's probably going to be some little nuances that change, and just the ability to be able to navigate it and everything is going to be interesting. But this is what we are helping a lot of our clients with, just navigate through all these different aspects of the bill. It's very important for you to understand that now more than ever is this bill very applicable to many different business owners, not just those that have a 640 credit score and have collateral and have a personal financial statement and have been in business for a year. Like, this opens it up to a lot more opportunity. Garrett Smith, appreciate it, man. Thank you very much. I would love for you to reach out to me. I'd love to help you with any of this stuff. But keep following me. I'm going to keep coming on here live. I've gone live almost every single day since this stuff has come out, and I want to keep you up to date as much as possible with what's going on here, and give you as many tools as possible to be able to use on your own. Go check out the SBA website. Go look at it. Go peruse in there. Go read. It does take a lot of time. You might not feel like doing it, but like, literally, this is the Wild West. There is so much opportunity to take advantage of during this time. And the biggest thing is these forgivable loans. So I really appreciate you tuning in here. And please, if you watch this back later, comment below. Let me know if you have any other questions. And I'll jump back on here live tomorrow once everything is passed, so that we can talk a little bit more about it. This could be a lifeline to help me keep my magic business alive. That's exactly right, Rod. That's the way I would look at it. Let's do it. I'd love to help you with it if you'd like me to, man. Hope you have a good evening.